to A1R Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV with Amanda Hall, Psychic, all the way from the Gold Coast. As I was just saying to our producer before the show, it's absolutely bitterly cold here on the Gold Coast this morning. So I thought I'd put a little bit of sparkle into the day and try and put some gold back into the Gold Coast because it's so cold. But anyway, moving on. I'm sure the weather wherever you are in your part of the world is absolutely fantastic and we can't complain. I mean, you know, I live in a magical part of the world where it doesn't get cold for very long, but when it does, we all complain. So that's part of being human, I suppose. So this week I thought the Simply Tarot card of the week is the very magical sort of card. It's called the Magician. Now, a lot of people sort of when they first learn tarot say to me, oh, this is the very first card of the deck. The Magician card actually has the card of number 0. And I've always placed it at the first card in the deck because to me it's the beginning point. It's the Magician. It's the element of surprise. It's good or bad. You're able to pull your own rabbit out of the hat. You know, you've got all the tools in front of you to make your life the way that you want it to be. So that's why I've always believed it should go first, because it's the beginning point to me. And it's really nice to sort of say that after all this time, and we've had so many trials and tribulations with world pandemics and elections and wars and food shortages and shootings and so many peculiar things going on in the world, maybe, just maybe, now we've got the tools to maybe bring some changes into our lives, you know, that we on a personal level can start to pull our own rabbit out of our hat, or we can sort of, we've got the tools there of the tarot cards, all the tools in front of us, that we can maybe start to create a different universe for ourselves. And my heart goes out to the people in the US with the terrible shooting that was there last week of all those poor innocent little children and their teachers that were gunned down for no apparent reason. You know, you can't begin to imagine why somebody would do that. Why is their mind so troubled? Why do you need to take other people out with you? I don't know. My heart and my prayers and thoughts go out to all the people affected, and we've all been affected in some way. I mean, here in Australia, we have very, very strict gun laws because of such an atrocity like that many years ago. Look, I can only say to you, it does make you feel safer by knowing that people can't just walk around with a gun. Maybe there's a lesson to be learnt in that. Anyway, let's move on to the astrology section of the show. Each week it seems to be getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We have the sun in Gemini at the moment, so that always symbols that we're sort of nearly halfway through the year when the sun's in Gemini. It's a time when we should be all starting to feel a little bit more alive, where we should be able to start to feel as if there's some things to look forward to. Ideas are coming thick and fast. You may feel a little bit restless. You may feel as if you don't want to sort of knuckle down and do things that you know that you have to do, and you really have to force yourself to stay focused on things and get the job done at hand. And for many people, this is a real struggle. And I'm not just talking about Geminis, I'm talking about all signs here, because your mind wants to wander and it wants to be like the snap of the fingers. It wants to go into many different directions and not really do maybe what the task is at hand that we need to be focusing on. But for many people, this is a very creative time of the year where, you know, you need to have your phone by your side so that you can jot down your notes on your voice part of your phone, or have a pen and paper. I like pen and paper. And just, you know, jot those ideas down, you know, that there may be something that you can add to that a little bit later on, but let's get those ideas down to begin with. So for those of you that have been having trouble sleeping in the last 24, 48 hours, there's no surprise there because the moon has been in Gemini. Not that it's any particular special sort of moon at the moment, but because it's there and it's conjunct the part of fortune, which is one of the Arabian parts, where it says that almost on an unconscious level, we don't want to go to sleep in case we miss something, in case we miss that, you know, big aha moment or that light bulb moment. So people have been a little bit restless. People have been finding it a little bit difficult to fall asleep and stay asleep because of this very sort of thought-provoking energy, you know, where your mind just will not shut off. Well, you're pleased to say that'll be changing in the next 24 hours, so you'll be able to finally get some sleep. We've also had the North Node, which is one of the moon's nodes, which is where we're looking to aspire to move forward to, or what we're trying to achieve as the highest point in our lives, is actually conjunct Mercury, the planet of communication at the moment. Now, that affects us on a personal level because many of us will have found, again, a lot of our time has been spent in our head with lots of ideas coming and going, things that we hadn't thought of before, maybe a different viewpoint, a different way of looking at things. And we've started to sort of question, some of these ideas are a bit dodgy, brothers. Are they really what I want to take up real estate in my head for? But we've got to understand that sometimes by having something like that that gets our attention, it makes us pay attention to what else is around it. So don't be too hard on yourself if you get a really stupid idea in your head and you think, well, why am I wasting my time with that coming into my mind, and why did I give it any airtime? It's because it's to get your attention. Now, with a planet of communication, Mercury has been retrograde now for nearly 3 weeks. He will be coming to a close in the next 2 to 3 days and start to move to direct again. And I hear everybody breathing a sigh of relief that finally people will have their listening ears on. Finally, you'll find that your computers and things like that will start to behave themselves. Programs will start to become normal again. And it'll just be that you'll start to feel a little bit less restless than what you have done. But the interesting thing out of this Mercury retrograde is the fact that there's been so many people around the world that have said, oh, I didn't see that coming, or I didn't expect it to go that way. Or, you know, we've had conversations with people that have been very enlightening, that have really brought things out into the open, where finally you've got to the bottom of a matter that's been troubling you for so long. So this is probably a direct result of the North Node conjunct the retrograde Mercury. It's bringing things out into the open so that they can be dissected and looked at. Wouldn't it be marvellous if we had some breakthroughs with the war in Ukraine? I mean, I keep trying to err on the side of positivity there and hoping them against hope that we're going to get a breakthrough soon and Russia will go home and stop being such a bully. Maybe that's a little bit of wishful thinking on my part, but look, we can always live in hope so that those poor people can start to rebuild their lives and get back to some sort of normality. We have Jupiter, the planet of expansion and opportunity and luck, is conjunct Mars in Aries. Now, Mars is the planet of action. It's a planet that gets us out of bed. It's where our ego and our drive comes from. Now, with it being in Aries, this means for all Aries for the next 12 months, you really do not need to squander the opportunities that are coming your way. Now, I have many Aries clients, and they've been saying to me that they feel like they've been stuck in a rut, nothing's moving forward. Well, now's your big chance. Things are going to start to move and move very, very quickly. So you need to capitalise on these opportunities as they come forward. Now, the flow on of this Jupiter in Aries will be also for the other two fire signs, which is Leo and Sagittarius. So they will start to feel that things are going to start to shift in their life too. May not be the same opportunities as Aries people will get. And also people under the sign of Libra will also find any obstacles or restrictions that they might have been feeling will start to move away now as well too. So it's a very, very positive time in our lives where we can, all the 12 signs can benefit, but those particular signs that I've spoken about, those 4 particular signs, that's where the major emphasis is here on there. So it's a time for great opportunities to really blow the dust off any past projects and let's make them happen. We also have Uranus, the planet of the unusual and unexpected, is still sitting in Taurus. So for many, many people, it's still a time where their world seems to be going through a transformational shift about the things that are important to them, the things that they want out of their lives. And I think it's sort of like the tail end of being in the pandemic. Many of us had light bulb moments or had realizations that our lives probably weren't what we thought they were. They weren't what they were cracked up to be. And all of a sudden, when we stood still and we were forced to stand still, we started to take stock of our lives and started to look at what were the important things in our lives that maybe we were just too busy to sort of acknowledge and appreciate before. So we saw many, many people make major life-changing decisions like moving home or relocating to somewhere else where they could have a better work-life balance. And the fact that they had to work from home, they had to sort of readjust their living quarters so that they could work from home, and many people had children that they had to school from home. So there was a lot of adjustments that went on. But a lot of people are still finding now that they're still sort of reassessing their lives and looking at what is the most important to them. And a lot of people have found chasing the almighty money isn't necessarily the answer to everything, that family, spending quality time, watching your children grow up and not missing those important moments because you're chasing this almighty dollar, or, you know, the pound note, whatever your currency may be, that you've found that missing out on those very special moments with your children and your family far outweighs any income that you could bring in. Yes, we all need an income to survive. We all need to live in the real world, and money makes the world go round. But I think we can also bring things more into a balance. So be aware there still could be some life-changing moments. There could be some changes coming up. So be very, very careful what you send out to the universe. I'm a firm believer in don't let it come out of your mouth verbally unless you're prepared to back it up with action. If you say, I hate my job, then guess what? The universe will create some sort of opportunity that job will be taken away from you. So be very careful what you say. It's all well and fine to say that I'm looking for a new opportunity or I wish I had a different job, but be very clear on what it is that you want. Don't just send something out there and say, oh, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean that to happen. I was just having a bad day. Yes, we all have bad days, but we have to be very careful at how we manifest things, because by verbalizing something, we are actually casting it out to the universe that this is what I want to happen. So we need to be very aware of that. We still have Pluto sitting in Capricorn. Pluto's been there since 2008, and it's interesting now that we're, halfway through 2022, and Pluto is still doing his merry little dance. But his role is to completely transform things. Now, this has got to come on a major sort of level. It's got to come on a worldwide level of governments. It's got to come where governments have got to be transformed. The way that we as a world look at things needs fixing. Now, there's many areas of the world that need fixing, and I go on a lot about global warming, and I think it's something we all need to get on our bandwagon about. But it's the governments that are the ones that can make the decisions. We mere mortals that live in our little neck of the woods can only do so much. It's got to be led by governments and changes in attitude, and really taking global warming seriously and really getting to some really logical, practical targets that we can all achieve as a globe, because we are all responsible for the planet that we live on. It's not just one person's responsibility, it's everybody's. And most of the people around the world have taken steps in their own little neighbourhoods to recycle and sort of, not use the car as much and all those sort of things. But it's now up to governments to start leading the way. So hopefully with more discussions around the world, like there was last week between the Pacific nations and the USA, maybe we're going to see more of those things where the world will band together and start to really try and find some solutions for this, as we start to get people sort of listening to each other and talking to each other and sharing ideas. It's when we start to share ideas, we get those light bulb moments that I've been talking about. So let's hope that that's definitely on the way up. We still have Saturn, the planet of discipline, sitting in Aquarius, still there for a little bit time yet. We've still got Neptune sitting in Pisces as well. So there's a lot of creativity happening at the moment, and lots of opportunities for people to sort of come out of all the 12 signs, to feel as if they're having those light bulb moments. They're coming out of the fog. They're finally starting to see their way, and they're starting to feel as if they're back in the driver's seat of their own lives again. And isn't that a nice position to be in? We're going to talk with Bobby in Forrestal, Missouri. Are you there, Bobby?
Yes, I am.
Do you have a question I can work with, please, sweetie?
Yeah, I'd like you to tell me about my son, my oldest son, Joe.
Okay. Joe. Okay, let me tune into Joe. It's interesting because the first thing that they're showing me there around Joe is it's like he's been running in many, many different circles, but I don't think he's found the direction that he needs to be going yet. Is that how you see it? As if he's, he's certainly energetic. It's just that I don't think he's found his true path yet. And I feel that is coming. And it's interesting because they're showing me as early as August, and I'm going to assume that's this August. It's like he's going to come back home and he's going to say to you, Mum, this is what I've decided to do. And you're going to sit there and say, wow, okay. You know, it's sort of like the last thing that you sort of expected. I'm not saying you're unhappy with it. I'm just saying it's not where you had imagined that maybe he would suggest he wanted to change the direction of his life to. And it's good. I feel very excited about it. It will involve a new job or some new study or a combination of both. Was there a dark-headed young lady that was in his life that sort of left him a little bit heartbroken?
Yeah.
Did you not like her?
Oh, no, I like her.
Because she's coming back.
Well,
I think
actually,
she's coming back.
my oldest son is Cass,
Right,
the one that I was asking
Yeah.
about, Jeff.
right. So Joe's not the one that had the breakup with the dark-headed lady.
No, that's Jeff, and he passed on, and
okay.
she,
Okay, but she's coming back. I don't know why they're bringing that into Joe's reading, but they showed me that, so I have to go with what they gave me. Well, she's on her way back. No, but I felt it was somebody you didn't like because I felt you
no.
were sort of uncomfortable with that. I still think I'm on the same son that we were talking about. Maybe he didn't share it with you. Maybe he just kept it to himself. But she's on her way back, and I just don't particularly get a good feeling about it. I just feel it'll be short-lived and it'll be moved on. So I think we're still talking about the same son. So if he comes home and
Okay,
says
now
he's
I
reconnected,
have two sons, and one's Jeff and one's John.
yeah, but
And
it's the
Jeff is the
son
one
that
that
you
passed.
asked me about. Yeah, but it's the son
I'm
that
sorry,
you
what?
asked me about. It's the son that you asked me about.
Yes, Jeff.
Yeah. So, but anyway, she's short-lived as she's not staying because I can see him with someone else. So, look, I feel both of your sons are moving into new directions in their lives this year. But the one particular son that you asked me about, it's his turn first. It's like he's waited the longest to get his life sorted out and get it going in a direction that he wants to go, which is good. But both the boys are really nice and they're both going to do very well. They're very different, but, you know, they'll both stand tall in their own right. And I think it's time now that you need to sort of start giving a little bit to yourself, Bobby. You know, instead of being so concerned about everybody else, I think you need to start looking after you a little bit more.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. Okay, so that's where we're going to leave Bobby and her lovely sons. We're going to talk with Ginger in Hazel Green, Alabama. Are you there, Ginger?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
I certainly can, sweetie. Do you have a question I can work with for you?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, today is my brother's birthday, and he passed a couple of years ago, and I just want to know if he's around or if he has any messages.
Look, the dearly departed are always around us, Ginger. It's sort of like we here on Earth sort of are looking for something sort of solid. We're looking for some sort of symbol that definitely says that's my brother or that's my whoever. And sometimes it's not the way that it comes through. It can sometimes just be very subtle. It can just be that they've popped into your mind and that's their way of connecting with you and saying, hey, I'm here. You know, there's no specific message for you exactly coming from him other than I know he's there. But what they are showing me on a collective is that there's a lot of endings, changes and transformations going on in your life at the moment. Are you ready to take a giant leap forward in your life now? Is there something major that's about to unfold?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Your brother's just sort of sitting there smiling. He's not giving away very much. And it's sort of as if he knows more than we do. And he's just sitting back there sort of like the cat that swallowed the cream and saying, well, I know more than you do. Was he a little bit like that on Earth when he was here, that he, you know, if he had something, that he'd sit there with that
he was.
beautiful smile? Yeah, because that's what he's doing. He's got this beautiful smile on his face, and it's like almost like he knows all the presents under the Christmas tree and he knows what's in them. You know what I mean? Like it's that real, not a nasty smile. It's a beautiful smile. And it's just sort of, he's just so excited, I think, about what's about to happen in your life that he feels that he's going to put his hand up and take responsibility for it. I don't think he can take all the credit, but that's okay. We'll let him. It's his birthday. That's his present, but he can take the credit for that. But it's interesting because he's sharing with me there is to be no more tears. Now, that's all well and fine for him to say, but I'm sure there's days where you still have tears. But I think what he's trying to share with you is that he wants you to be happy. Can you do that for him? Can you try and sort of, say, okay, 2 years is enough of tears. Now we're going to live. Can you do that for him? Can you live for him? I think that's what he wants for his birthday. He wants you to do some things that make people laugh and smile. He had such a larger than life energy, and he's still got that same energy even in death. From the other side, I'm sure he keeps everybody entertained over there because he's just such a giving, caring sort of person, and that hasn't changed. When I go to him and sort of ask if he wants to sort of share anything about his passing, he just shuts me down. So I'm not allowed to go there. He doesn't want me to go there, and that's fine. I have to respect that. And he comes back to sort of, it's party time. It's time to celebrate. It's time to be happy. And I don't know what's ahead of you, but I just know that he is so excited and he's going to take full responsibility for it, that he thinks it's just wonderful. So there must be some massive changes coming up in your life that, I'm not saying you haven't worked towards, but what I'm saying is he's taking the credit for it all, which is good.
That's wonderful.
Was there someone that you felt had answers or had something that they'd held back from you around his passing?
Yes, my mother lives with me, and they were really close. So.
Right. But why do you think she has information she hasn't shared?
I'm not sure. Maybe just to keep me from hurting anymore, because he's my only sibling and we were the bestest friends.
Probably. It wasn't something that he shared with me. It was just something that someone else from the other side, and I'm going to say an older woman, gave me that snippet of information, and she said to me to tell you that
today is the day my grandmother passed away also.
Okay, so I'm going to assume it's her energy then, but she's telling me that you weren't wrong. I don't think she wants to go into it, but I think she just wants to let you know that what you felt wasn't wrong, that you weren't going mad. That's, her message to you. Do you know what I mean? You don't necessarily need the information. You just needed to know you weren't wrong.
Okay.
She was a strong woman.
Thank you so much. Oh, yes, she was.
Oh, I wouldn't like to tangle with her. If you were in a good book, that was great. But by heavens, watch out if you weren't.
Yes, ma'am. She was exactly like that.
Yeah, but she's telling me that she just keeps giving me big bunches of pink roses for you, so that's her way of showing her love. But it's interesting because she felt very strongly she had to share that with me, that you needed to know that piece of information. And
okay.
Look, I'm sure she's keeping everybody in line on the other side. I don't think anybody can get out of line there, that's for sure. But your brother, he can melt her heart. I mean, I don't know whether he was able to do that when he was here on Earth with her, but he certainly can get away with it on the other side. He just can't do any wrong in her eyes. And she keeps saying to me that you're a chip off the old block. So I'm going to take that as a compliment. If she thinks you're half as strong as she was, that's a real compliment.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, but they all love you and they all send you their blessings. But go and do something special today for your brother, even if it's just go down the road and buy a cupcake or something and sing happy birthday to him. They hear you.
Okay.
They see you. They know everything that we do, except when we're doing our private stuff like taking a shower or going to the bathroom. They're not there then. But everything else they see and hear. And he loves a good party. So put on a nice piece of music that he loved and wish him happy birthday, because I think that's what he wants. He wants it to be party time.
Okay, thank you so much. So much.
Oh, you're very, very welcome, Ginger. I know how difficult it is when we lose people, and particularly when you lose somebody as close as your brother. It takes such a long time to find a place to be able to be comfortable with it. I don't think you ever get over loss.
We went back to back. I lost my granny, and then I lost my dad, and then I lost my brother a year after my dad. So it was kind of like bam, bam, bam.
Crikey, so that you've certainly had a lot to deal with, haven't you? And I mean, no one person is more special than the other. I mean, it's just that you had 3 losses in such a short space of time. I mean, how can your heart feel like it's ever
Yes,
going to
ma'am.
mend from that? You know, it's and each one in their own way was special and unique and painful and everything else. I mean, loss is something I don't think that we ever really come to terms with. You know, we grieve in different ways for different people, and it doesn't make anybody less important. It's just the way that
No,
we
ma'am.
deal with that at that time. And, you know, I don't think we ever become immune to grief. You know, it's we all grieve
No,
in our
I
own
don't think
ways.
we ever do.
No, we don't.
You've
And,
been
you know,
a great
people don't. Yeah, and people don't understand it. You know, we need to talk about it. We need to talk about these members we've lost, even as if they're still here. That's part of the healing process. It's part of the grief. And it's part of our acknowledgement that they're not forgotten. That's also very important too. You know, I have many family traditions in my house at Christmas time when we set a place for all those that have gone before. You know, we have one special spot at the table that's for all the people that have departed, and we raise a glass and wish them Merry Christmas and tell a joke on their behalf or whatever. Start some traditions like that, and it makes it feel as if they're still with you, you know, that they're not
Yes,
forgotten.
ma'am.
Okay, Ginger, that's where we're going to leave it, sweetie. I hope you have a much better night.
Thank you. God bless you.
You're very
Thank you.
You're very, very welcome. That was Ginger. And it's always hard when we lose people, and particularly when you have so many deaths in succession like that. It's, you know, sooner seem to get up and start to get on with your life, and bang, you've been hit over the head again with another death and another set of emotions that you need to deal with. And there's no easy way around it. It is take one day at a time, and don't let anybody tell you you're doing it the wrong way, because you're doing it precisely the way that you need to do. And, you know, it's interesting because we are all human and we all grieve in different ways. So this week I want to leave you with one of my favourite songs. It's an oldie but a goodie, and it's one that most people sort of know at least some of the words to. And if you're in the US and you come from around New York, you'll know this song extremely well. It's Billy Joel and Just the Way You Are. And I think we could all take a leaf out of that song today and just don't go changing, just be who you are, you know, because people love you for just the way you are. So until next week, bye for now.